Hello, this is Jeff with Fberg CRM doing another Zoho marketing automation tutorial. Today's topic is going to be on lead scoring. We are going to talk more about the technicals of how you score things, how you score contacts and leads, and not so much about strategy or linking a bunch of campaigns together and actions and activities together to actually create a lead score. We're not going to talk about the reasoning behind that. You probably know what lead scores are. You know why you would need them. Basically, it helps you surface your most engaged users so that you can pass them off to sales. Um, it helps you. It helps you know your interaction level with contacts and leads based on their score, right? And we'll jump into that a little bit more here in a moment. But you can see here we have Zoho Marketing Automation. So the Zoho CRM feeds in the Zoho Marketing Hub. And we can also have web forms and spreadsheets that flow into marketing automation to fill that up. And so we are going to review creating a classification system. And then here in green, these are the different ways that we can add scores to people that are interacting with our web content, our email marketing content, just all of the things available in Marketing Hub. And it looks like there's 7 of these off the bat. So we're going to walk through these in greater detail. You'll probably learn a lot through these parts of the webinar. And then we're going to show you, okay, once we score them, what do we do then? And so this is basically saying, hey, we can add scores, but we can also subtract scores. So if somebody's a warm, they can do an activity to get pushed back into a cold stage, right? And so I'm going to walk you through pushing lead scores into CRM through a custom field. We are going to talk about lead stages a little bit. So I put together this little funnel from very cold to hot down here. And this is the default funnel that marketing automation gives us. And so we'll run through that a little bit. And here we have 3 contacts, Judy, Mari, and Jerry. They have different scores. And we're going to walk through some scenarios of what we can do with those different scores. And so with that, let's go ahead and jump right in here. So the first thing I wanted to just quickly touch on is, do you need lead scoring? Are you a small business that only gets 5 or 10 leads per week, right? If so, putting together this lead scoring matrix and using your resources to do this may not be the best use of resources. Or if you are a small micro business or something small, you could do something as simple as, let's send them a few emails. Let's send them a sequence of 3 emails. And if they open up any of those or click on any of those, then let's go ahead and reach out to them. So you can really scale this up, right? So if you're not getting a lot of leads through whatever source, then you may want to reevaluate of, whether you should be using lead scoring and spending the time. Another way that leads get dumped into your Zoho marketing automation system here is a lot of your BDR, your business development reps, or maybe even your salespeople, someone within your company potentially has Zoom info, and they're finding, ICPs, the ideal client profiles, and they're exporting from Zoom info, and they're putting them here into Zoho marketing automation so they can put them on a cold email sequence. And sometimes they're putting in hundreds, if not thousands, of leads into your system, every month or even every week. And so, your sales rep aren't going to have time to open up an email. Are not going to have time to reach out of all those thousands of people you send an email to, or however we're going to be scoring them here today, um, we need to wait for that score to go even higher so that we can focus in on the hot leads, right? The whole idea here is that we don't waste our time with the low-hanging fruit, with the people that are not really, engaging with our content. And there's also a little bit of, we're just going to quickly touch on some strategy here, is when you have to understand the scoring methodologies inside and out, almost, or at least how your business is doing it, just so that you can build scoring systems that work and surface hot leads, right? And so one thing would be, how long is your sales cycle? Is it 2 weeks? Is it 3 months? And so if it's 3 months, you may want to have each interaction with your web content or emails have a lower score, so that by the time it reaches the end, it has potential to have a hotter score. But from my experience, you also want to add in a few actions which can give it a high enough score to be moved immediately through the sales stage funnel, and be pushed over to your sales people to reach out to. So let's jump in right here. So lead score classification. We have cold, warm, hot. And for this example, cold is going to be 20 points or less than 20 points or less. Warm, 20 to 30 points. Hot, 31 plus points. And like I said, if you don't like these three classifications, cold, warm, hot, you can just have a numbering system and know that, the higher the number, the more engaged they are with your content. So let's jump into Zoho Marketing Hub, and so I can walk you through how to leverage these 7 types of scoring, and you can apply your own strategy. Again, I'm happy to work with you to develop a strategy. So let's start here. Score from a workflow, right? And so here I have a list that I'm in, right? Leads, manage list, and then here's my list. If I come in here to workflows, I do new workflow, and do instant. One of the actions down here is add score, right? And so this could be useful in terms of the criteria here. So if we have a workflow, we can actually score leads as they're entered into your system, right? So going back to our flow here, they can come from CRM, web form, or spreadsheet, right? And so say spreadsheet. And so if they're coming from a spreadsheet, and maybe we look at their lead source, right? So from the spreadsheet, if this was an event, say we had a fishbowl out at an event conference, and this is just 40 names that were dumped into the fishbowl. Well, those are pretty hot, right? They could potentially be hot, and so we could say fishbowl cards from event A, and so I'm synchronized CRM with Zoho Marketing Hub, so you can't use lead source in Marketing Hub. And so what I generally do is create a custom one here called lead origin, and we can say this, and we can say the lead source. Okay, add score of 10, right? And so why did we pick 10? Well, that's a good question. Again, you'll have to, kind of understand your strategy on why you're giving different scores. And again, this video is not for that. This video is more to show you the underlying technology. I can say that if your BDRs are importing, thousands of leads or hundreds of leads in a month, as soon as you import them in, right, maybe you don't give them any score. So just by the fact that you have a fishbowl at an event and you put those people in here, those are people who actually walked up your table, gave you their card, and so shouldn't they get some points versus leads that you just kind of imported in bulk from a publicly known source? And so this was workflow, and you can do those at the demo. At the list level. And so you may even want to, right? If you have life cycle stages in your CRM, you may want to add those here. Just any kind of industry, right? Industry is the insurance industry, right? So maybe you want to weigh leads that are in the insurance industry more. So if they came for the fishbowl event and they are in the insurance industry, right, then give them 10 points. And so I'll go ahead and cancel out of that, leave that one alone. So let's come back here. So let's assign any lead scores from a workflow. Source from journey actions and inactions. So if we come here to our web assistants, journeys, all journeys, create journeys, blank. Now for trigger, we can say this, lead score updates, right? And so you could say start this journey when a lead is greater than or equal to maybe 11, right? So we don't, in our previous example with the fishbowl, if we give them 10 points upon importing, then they're going to have to take another action, right? Maybe at least one to get that extra point here, so that we can send this to them, right? So in regards to Zoho marketing automation journeys as a trigger, you can use lead score as a trigger. You can also, once we have the trigger defined, you come down here under process, right? So let's just do send email, and then let's choose add score, right? So let's put this one over here. If we turn on this content, right? Email, any link clicked. And I can't do this in the demo because we don't have a email composed with an actual link in it. So let's just use these three, but keep this one in mind. Done, right? And so here we can say add 10 points, right? If they open it, and come over here, add score. If they click on a link, right, we could say add 15 points. And we can subtract scores here, subtract scores. So unopened. So if they do not open this, then subtract 5 points from their score. And so again, this is Zoho marketing automation journey. You can trigger a journey based on a lead score, and you can add and remove scores through the process part of a journey. Now, one thing I did want to show you is is just, another scenario here is if a lead score is 11, we're adding scores here, right? But if I had an email in here and it had a link to our booking page, then the responses here would have clicked a specific link. And so what I can do is, using lead stages, is I can say if they clicked on that specific booking link, put them here, and let's just immediately move them to sales ready, right? So that our salespeople get that, right? If we think that sending an email out to someone and them entering our booking, clicking our booking link makes them sales ready. Now, for one thing is, if you don't want to, one thing is if they just click your booking link, maybe they're actually going to book with you, and you don't want to do, another follow-up action. So you just have to consider this. But what I did want to show you is that, aside from lead scores, we can immediately fast track people through lead stages. So just something to keep in mind there. Let's jump over to this one. Score from default campaign activities, right? And so let's go back here. Let's go back to our dashboard. And if we do qualification, the first thing you need to do is you'll click on lead scoring. And the first thing you need to do is enable it. It'll say, do you want to enable this? And you'll go ahead and select yes. And you can see here that this is how we have it broken down. Cold leads are leads less than 20. Warm are 20 to 30, and hot are 31 and over. And you can actually change this, right? So if you want to say your hot leads are 40 and your warm leads and so now you just bump your score up. And so to get back to what I was going here under this score from default campaign activity. So once we have enabled the lead scoring here in Zoho Marketing and Automation, you'll notice that you'll see this stuff, right? And so campaign activities. And so what we'll do is just come here and we'll enable this, right? Enable. And then, so campaign activities are email activities. And so any email that we send somebody, when they open it, they're going to get 10 points. When they click multiple times, 25 points. And if they tell a friend, if you have a tell a friend link in your email that's going, they will get 40 points. And so this is just a way of you saying every email that I send out, I want to be able to, this is like the very basic, there's thought behind it, but this is kind of set it and forget it, right? Scores just keep adding up based on how they're adding, based on how they're interacting with your email and how the system thinks that they should have a score that these are worth. And you can see that when you click on edit, you can actually say, well, if they open up an email, let's just go ahead and give this one an 8. Multiple opens, 21. And we'll go ahead and save that. And so we are on the score from default campaign activities. And so once we enabled lead scoring, it immediately showed us the campaign activities. And so this is where you will set this, and we'll always use this on new campaigns. The other one right here beside it that we glanced over was score from campaign specific activities. And so while I just showed you how to set up the defaults so that the system just does it for you, you can also tell Zoho to use scoring on a specific campaign, right? So if we're here, we go to engagements, email campaigns, and we just click on this one. When you look over here to the right, default scoring is enabled. That way hey, this person's getting a score. But look right here, set campaign specific scoring. And when you select that, this gives you an opportunity to use these conditions to build out a custom score, right? And so if you look at these, you could say, if somebody clicks this between the hours of 9 and 5, give them some more points. Or if open from country, if they open it from Canada, you'll give them 5 points, right? And you can also, I think, add up to 3 different criteria. 4, 3. So as you build this out for conditions, you can say, we're going to give it 5 points. We're going to say if they're from Canada and they open this more than 2 times and I think that's a decent amount for this demo. So if they open it in Canada and they open it more than 2 times, we're going to give that 5 points. All right, and so we can say add a new one, right? And so we say if country is United States and they click more than twice, give them maybe 4 points, right? So anyway, this is how you can kind of create campaign specific scoring. So you have your default scoring over here, which will run, but you can also add these as kind of specific scoring. And for this specific campaign, you just use your campaign specific scoring and then just disable this just for this campaign, right? So that again, once we are in email campaigns and we look at the actual content here, we can see that campaign specific scoring is enabled. So we've talked a little bit about these 4. Let's go score from website activity. So if we are here under qualification, lead scoring, now if we scroll down here, these are the ways that we can increase or decrease the scores for these remaining ones. So what I'm about to show you is for these 3. But if we go to lead scoring page, website activity, which we're about to cover, filter based on scoring details. So all of these here are under qualifications, lead scoring. So now let's go here to website activity. Now this is either on or off, and you can see when we edit this, there's really only one option. If somebody achieves a goal, give them this many points. Now I don't really like this. I don't really like using this website activity, because if you have, here under website assistant, if you create an event that's tied to a button and say you have a goal that says if somebody clicks on this button, which could be maybe a CTA or a contact us, or maybe a specific button on a certain product page, right? They're going to immediately get 30 points because they completed a goal. But another goal would be, well, what if they came to my website and they clicked on these 3 specific pages? To me, them clicking on specific pages has more weight, right? It makes them kind of a hotter lead than if they were to just click on one button on my website. So watch when you use this one, website activity, because it does rate all of the goals achieved equally, and so to me that's kind of a bad thing, so I'm going to turn that one off. Field-based scoring rules, right? And so in our remember, going back to our initial one here, I showed you how to create or add scores based on criteria, or you can. There's actually a way that we can add scores based on field base, and that's here. So you can see we can add scores based on geographic locations, company size, industry. So if we choose set up scoring, and so this is the same thing, right? This is the field-based scoring that we saw. So we could say if title contains VP, give it 5 points, right? We'll create another one here. Right? You can say if job title contains director, give it 4 points. And we can even do another one, manager. And so this is a way that we are basically letting the system score these as they're entered into the system, or as data is updated. And so you can see that the scoring is here. Create scoring field. Let's do one more. And so you can see here again, these are the fields that are in Zoho Marketing Automation, but some of these are also from Zoho CRM. They're the fields that you synchronize with. And if you do not see your custom field or a CRM field that you want to do a field-based scoring on, then you should go back to your CRM synchronization with Zoho Marketing Automation so that you can be sure this field is in the mapping. So again, one thing that I can do is, we're located in Virginia, so I can say if the state is Virginia, right, then add them 5 points, because these are people that we could potentially drive to, right? We don't have to do remote configurations. And so to me, knowing that they're in Virginia, and them knowing that I'm in the area and available service, I don't know, maybe that's a good way to add some points. And so this is field-based scoring. If we're back to our lead scoring, so let's scroll down. We talked about this one. We have our field-based scoring on, and it kind of shows you the criteria if you were to expand here. Now this is one of my favorite ones, the web assistant based scoring, and I think it's our last way of adding and subtracting scores, right? So we covered this one, scores from web assistant based scoring, and so this one has a lot of capabilities here. Okay, so one thing is that you do have to have website assistant set up. We're not going to go into much of that in this video because I did a previous video, a long webinar on web assistance specifically. So let's come down here and do setup scoring. And so here are the things that we can score on. Pages, what web pages did they come to? Did they come to 1 page, 3 page? Events, this is what buttons on our page did they click? What CTA actions did they click? Goals, again, this could be a string of actions that are taken to complete a goal. And a goal could be as simple as, hey, they came to our contact page and they clicked on the contact us at the top of the page, and then it scrolled them to the bottom of the page so they actually insert their information. But that could potentially be a goal. Miss goals. purchase abandonment, channel. And so these next few here, channel, source, UTM campaign, UTM content. So these should look familiar to you if you're in marketing. You know, you're running Google ads and Bing ads, and you're populating the URL to give you this information, right? So you can say if, well, we'll get to scenarios in a moment. UTM campaigns, UTM content, UTM terms, visitor type. So this is, you know, are they known or unknown? Meaning if they are known, that generally means that you have sent them an email in the past and you set a cookie on their machine, and so you'll know if who they are. Number of visits, you know, have they come 3 times to your website? You know, to me, if somebody comes to your website 3 times, that should get a lot more points than if someone simply opens up an email from you, right? And so when you're putting together your scoring system, you need to think through, and I call these sales signals, is if you put yourself in the shoes of your customers, you know, them opening an email, yeah, it could be, you know, why not just give them a few extra points for opening up your email, but it doesn't actually mean that they're interested. So the idea here is if we build these web assistants, we can actually surface that, right? And so one thing, like if you have, say, a nonprofit organization, you can say if somebody comes to my nonprofit and they click on the button that says donate now, and they come to the donate now web page. Now they may contribute and they may not, but to me, if they at least showed interest in donating, you know, we should give them more of a score, right? Number of URLs accessed, right? And so if you send out 10 emails and each email had 5 clicks, and that would be 50 possible clicks, you can say, well, if they clicked on 12 of the 50, you know, that's my criteria to assign, right? Number of events performed. And so again, this is drawn directly from Web Assistant, Zoho marketing automation capabilities. And so number of events performed, again, these are generally associated, kind of like Google Tag Manager, where you say if someone presses this button, then an event has been performed. Frequency of visit, right? Well, what if they came to your website in the last 30 days, right? So if they've come to your website greater than 3 times, right, then give them this score down here, right? And so country, if they're from a specific country, give them some additional scores. And so you can see here, let's just let's back out of this one. So let's say pages. So for me, if somebody comes to my, if they come to my home page, right, and if they click on the about page, click on the about page, and they click on my pricing page, to me, you know, they're interested in learning more about my company, and they're interested in our pricing. So, you know, this could be a 25, right? And so one thing to consider is when you're defining these score criteria, as I like to think of them as inbound and outbound. So if you're sending emails to people and they open and click things, you know, yeah, they should get some scores, right? So their lead score should increase. But if they're actually, you know, coming directly to your website and they're clicking around on it, that's them taking actions from an email you sent them. And so to me, this should be weighted a lot higher, right? them taking actions on your website. And so if we come down here, channel, right? Channel is if you use Zoho Social, right? And someone clicks on your social post, someone clicks on a, if they come in from a social post and maybe the campaign is, right, UTM campaign is Happy Holidays, right? So someone came through social, and the campaign you were running is called Happy Holidays. We could give that a few points here. And again, I'm just trying to show you how we can use these. You'll have to think up your own scenarios, but I can say I was going to show you the Google Campaign Builder, but you can do that in Zoho Marketing Automation as well. So let's go through another thing here. So here could be a good one. So if someone the number of visits is greater or equal than 3, right? And they visited my pricing page, right? They came to my website on three different occasions here, and they clicked on my pricing page at least once. Then go ahead and give them, some points here. Another thing is we've mentioned goals, right? Achieved a specific goal. So if you look at these, I have 4 goals set up. And so again, goals are related to Web Assistant. There's a whole nother section on Zoho Marketing Automation for this. But you can see how I can string together goals, right? So if in Web Assistant, if this first goal here, say it was a string of 3 different things that a lead or a contact had to do to achieve this goal, and this one was 2 things, and this one was, well, this is obviously 3 because it's visited 3 specific pages. But what I'm trying to show you here is if we say if they did this goal and they did this other goal that I have, and they did this 3rd goal that I have, then give them, this is a pretty powerful one. So if they did all 3 goals, that's saying something. So we could save and activate. And so let's see, source is LinkedIn, and campaign is maybe and they come to right. So if somebody comes to us from LinkedIn and they click on the URL, the link, and in that URL has the campaign, the UTM campaign parameter, and they actually visit our contact us page, give them, say, I don't know, 40 points. And so again, I'm just trying to show you how this web assistance, this can actually cover a lot of these scenarios that you are thinking of building out. And so that is defined web assistance based on or assigning scores based on web assistance. So now let's come down here. So let's just jump in a little bit here about lead stages. So one of the reasons why you want to assign scores to surface your hot and warm leads is so you can take automated actions, right? And so here again, this is the default lead stages. Raw leads, which means you have their email address. Marketing ready means you have their first name and email address. And again, you can change this criteria. But the idea is, marketing engaged. Once somebody clicks on your email or completes a goal, or which means that the score gets to a certain point, you could say that they're engaged, right? And so the difference between a raw lead and engaged. The engaged are people that are actually interacting with your content, right? Marketing qualified, and then sales ready. So if you send 5 emails out and someone clicks a specific link in all 5 emails, well, that's definitely, they should be moved to the sales ready stage. And so your sales can reach out to them, or you could actually start using a whole new kind of scoring system just for the sales ready, and you can send out marketing automation emails. And so we're not going to go too deep into these lead stages, but I just wanted to show you that you could say, and again, these are the out of the box ones, but you could create your own here. So let's take, for example, these 3 people, right? So Judy, Mari, and Jerry here, they all have different scores, 15, 25, and 60, right? And so Judy, she's only in the marketing ready because we know what her name is. She has at least 15 points. Mari, so he has more than Judy, so that means that he's in the system and he's taken maybe 2 or 3 different actions. Or he has, if we use lead scoring for actions taken, that would put him over in here. And then Jerry has 60 points, and so he may be sales ready, right? And so you do need to kind of think a little. If you're going to be using lead scoring in tandem with lead stages, then you do need to think this through a little bit. But the idea is, if you were to dump people here into Zoho Marketing Automation from Zoho CRM, from Webform, from spreadsheets, you put them in here and they go through your lead scoring systems that you build. The idea is to surface your hot leads so that you can take automated and personalized outreach and things like that to your most, your highest likely to convert leads. And so when you have these systems in place that are scoring things, they push them into your lead stages, right? And this is where you can do more automations. And so we're almost done here. A few more things I wanted to talk about. Add score and subtract scores. So just don't forget that you can actually subtract scores. And so one thing I did want to show you is we're talking about lead scoring and Zoho Marketing Automation. But if you're a Zoho One customer and you have Zoho CRM, Zoho Sales IQ, I did want to show you that they each have their own scoring system. So when you look at a customer life cycle, are you scoring them in CRM? Are you scoring them in Sales IQ? Are you scoring them in Marketing Automation? Or are you pushing these lead scores from these various platforms back to CRM so that you can look at a contact or lead record and see all 3 of those scores there? So let's just quickly here in CRM, you can see if I come over here to scoring rules, you can see I have scoring on leads fields here in my demo CRM. So lead field scoring, this one, email. So if you send an email from CRM, right, this is how this gets scored. If you call someone, you can add scores here, surveys, campaigns. One thing I would say is if you have this enabled in your CRM, if you have Zoho Marketing Automation synchronized with CRM, then those email campaigns are going to come over here, and you can see that if we say every time someone opens up an email campaign, give them 10 points, right? And so that's going to give them 10 points here in CRM, but remember, you're also giving them points over here in marketing automation through these things. And so you may want to not score people based on email campaigns in CRM, since you're going to be doing that in marketing automation, right? And then here in Sales IQ, if we click on settings and we go over to lead scoring, and so we're also having scores here, and you can see we can add, our own scoring. Did they stay here for a minute or two? Did they come to directly? Did they visit specific pages? Anything like that. So what I wanted to show you is just, Sales IQ has its own scoring engine as well. And so when you look at a lead in CRM, you'll see these 3 scores. And so here, if we're in CRM, we can see here is our marketing score, right, that we're pulling from Zoho Marketing Automation. Here's our lead score, which is from CRM scoring. And then if we scroll down here, visitor score, this is from Sales IQ. And so all 3 of these scores are here on this contact record. And just to quickly show you how we do that here in CRM is if we have leads, sync services, we'll go into the service here and we'll click on settings. And so you'll see here there is campaigns to CRM settings, right? So we'll click edit there. And if we scroll down, you'll see this little box, push lead score to CRM. And so what I've done is I created a number field in CRM. I labeled it marketing score. And then I enabled this little checkbox here, which is going to take whatever their marketing score is here in Zoho Marketing Automation, and it's going to push that to the marketing score field in CRM. So when I look at a particular record in CRM, I'll know their marketing score, which can be great for using workflows and just further automating things and helping your sales teams. And so we'll go into this sync, we'll click on settings, we'll enable this field, and this does have to be a number field, it can't be a text field. But once you have this set up in your CRM, then it's just a matter of, again, coming in here, doing it for contacts and or leads, and then clicking save. So we'll cancel out of that. And so I hope this helps you conceptualize how to do things in Zoho Marketing Automation. Now, obviously, there's a lot of strategy behind doing something like this. There's a lot of moving parts, and I think you may even have to build classifications and scores based on the people that you're engaging with. So this is kind of ever evolving, in terms of these scoring things. But I think that you must be interested in lead scoring if you found this video, and so you understand the power of that. And in this video, I kind of just wanted to show you how to use Zoho Marketing Automation's lead scoring capabilities to apply scores to your leads and contacts. Anyway, I hope this was useful to you. You spent 49 minutes with me. I appreciate it. And if you have any Zoho Marketing Automation questions or you want us to help you out, just feel free to come over to our webpage, fbergcrm.com, and click on the Contact Us, and we will set up a discovery call. Or if it's just a quick message, you can put down here in the YouTube videos, if it's just a quick question. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope this was beneficial to you. Thanks.